Picture this. While most men are raising their hands, waiting to be called on, seeking approval from bosses, partners, society, even strangers on the internet, there's a different breed of man who simply acts. He doesn't ask if it's okay. He doesn't wait for permission. He doesn't need validation from the crowd. This is the Sigma male, and his relationship with permission is radically different from everyone else. You see, the world is designed to keep you asking for permission to start that business, asking for permission to take risks, asking for permission to live life on your own terms. But here's the uncomfortable truth that most people will never understand. Every time you ask for permission, you're unconsciously declaring that someone else has authority over your life. The Sigma male operates on a different frequency. He's cracked the code that high-value men throughout history have understood. Permission is an illusion created to control you. And today, we're going to break down exactly why Sigma men never ask permission for anything, and how this single mindset shift can transform your entire existence. If you're ready to stop living like a passenger in your own life and start commanding your reality like the alpha architect you were meant to be, then you're in exactly the right place. Make sure you subscribe to Official Sigma Male and hit that notification bell, because we're building a community of men who refuse to live by other people's rules. Let's dive deep. 1. The permission trap that keeps ordinary men stuck. Let's start with a hard truth. Most men are living in a prison of their own making, and the bars are made of permission. From childhood, you were trained to raise your hand before speaking, trained to ask before acting, trained to seek approval before making decisions. Your parents, teachers, society, they installed a devastating program in your mind. The belief that you need someone else's approval to move forward in life. This permission-seeking behavior doesn't stay in childhood. It follows you into adulthood like a shadow. The man who wants to start a business but asks his friends if it's a good idea, only to have them shoot it down. The guy who wants to ask out that woman but seeks validation from his buddies first. The employee who has a revolutionary idea but waits for the right moment that never comes. This is the permission trap. You believe that by asking permission, you're being smart and careful, but what you're actually doing is outsourcing your power. You're handing the steering wheel of your life to people who aren't even in your car. The Sigma male recognized this trap early. He learned something crucial. Permission is a gate that doesn't actually exist. It's a hologram. Walk through it, and you'll discover there was nothing there all along. Consider this. Every major breakthrough in human history happened because someone refused to ask permission. The Wright brothers didn't ask permission to fly. Steve Jobs didn't ask permission to revolutionize technology. They saw what they wanted, calculated the risks, and moved. But here's the distinction. The Sigma male doesn't avoid permission because he's rebellious. He avoids it because he understands that asking permission is fundamentally asking someone else to take responsibility for your decision. And responsibility is the one thing a Sigma male never outsources. When you ask for permission, you're saying, "I don't trust myself to handle the consequences, so I need you to co-sign it." And when they say no, you avoid the discomfort of taking action. You stay safe. You get to blame them for your inaction. It's a comfortable trap, which is why so many men never escape it. The Sigma male has made peace with something terrifying. He alone is responsible for his life, not his parents, not his boss, not society, him. And once you truly accept that responsibility, the concept of permission becomes absurd. Why would you ask someone else for authorization to live your own life? 2. Why asking permission is a subconscious power transfer. Now let's go deeper into what actually happens when you ask for permission. Most men don't realize they're engaging in a subconscious power transfer every single time they seek approval. Here's what happens. You're establishing a hierarchy. You're positioning the other person above you. You're declaring, without saying it, that they have authority over you, that their judgment is superior to yours, that their approval should determine your action. This is a power transfer, plain and simple. And the person receiving it knows it, even unconsciously. When someone asks you for permission, you feel it. You feel the power shift. You feel yourself rise in status while they lower themselves. The Sigma male understands this dynamic at a cellular level. He knows that every interaction is a negotiation of power, and he refuses to give his power away casually. Let's break down the mechanics. When you ask your boss for permission to take vacation, you're not just following policy. You're reinforcing the hierarchy, reminding both yourself and your boss that you are subordinate. There's a massive difference between informing someone of your plans and asking their permission. The Sigma male informs. He doesn't ask. When you ask your partner for permission to go out with friends, you're establishing a parent-child dynamic. You're teaching them they have veto power over your autonomy. Most partners don't actually want that power. They respect men who maintain independence, who communicate but don't subordinate themselves. The Sigma male communicates his intentions and considers his partner's feelings. But he doesn't ask permission because he understands that healthy relationships are built on mutual respect between equals, not on one person granting permission to the other. Think about the language itself. Can I versus I'm going to. The first positions you as powerless. The second positions you as sovereign. The first invites resistance. The second states reality. Every time you engage in permission-seeking behavior, you're reinforcing a neural pathway that tells your brain, I am not capable of making good decisions on my own. I need external validation. Over time, this becomes your default mode. You become addicted to approval. This is why you see so many men on social media desperately seeking validation from strangers. The Sigma male keeps his power internal. His validation comes from within. He makes decisions based on his own judgment, values, and vision. He might seek information or ask for advice from someone he respects, but he never asks for permission because he never transfers the decision-making power to anyone else. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop asking for permission, people respect you more. They trust your judgment more. They follow your lead more. Because power recognizes power. Confidence recognizes confidence. And everyone, whether they admit it or not, is attracted to people who own their authority. 3. The Sigma mindset of self-validation and autonomy. Let's talk about what's happening internally in the Sigma male's mind. Because this isn't just about behavior, it's about a fundamental shift in how you relate to yourself and the world. The Sigma male has developed what I call an internal locus of control. This is a psychological concept that determines where you place the source of your validation. Do you look outward for approval, or do you look inward for confirmation? Most men have an external locus of control. Their sense of worth, their confidence, their decision-making, all of it depends on what other people think. The Sigma male has flipped this entirely. His locus of control is internal. He has built an unshakable foundation of self-validation that doesn't require external input to remain stable. Now, how does someone develop this? It's not magic. It's not something you're born with. It's built through a specific process of self-trust that compounds over time. It starts with small decisions. The Sigma male makes a decision, acts on it, and then observes the outcome without judgment. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But he owns it either way. He doesn't blame circumstances. He doesn't blame other people. He takes full responsibility for the result, learns from it, and moves forward with updated information. Over time, this process builds something incredibly powerful. Evidence. Evidence that he can make decisions, evidence that he can handle consequences, evidence that he doesn't need someone else to validate his choices before taking action. This evidence accumulates like interest in a bank account, and eventually he has so much proof of his own capability that seeking external permission becomes absurd. Think about it like this. If you had a track record of making good decisions, handling adversity, and creating positive outcomes in your life, would you feel the need to ask random people for permission before acting? Of course not. You'd trust yourself. You'd know that even if you make a mistake, you have the capability to handle it and course correct. But most men don't have this track record because they've never allowed themselves to build it. They've been asking permission their whole lives, so they've never accumulated the evidence of their own competence. They're stuck in a loop. They don't trust themselves, so they ask for permission, which prevents them from building self-trust, which makes them continue asking for permission. It's a vicious cycle. The Sigma male breaks this cycle through autonomous action. He takes calculated risks. He makes decisions that are aligned with his values, not with what other people think he should value. He pursues goals that mean something to him, not goals that will impress others. And here's a critical distinction. Autonomy doesn't mean isolation. The Sigma male isn't refusing to ask permission because he's antisocial or arrogant. He's refusing because he understands that true connection and collaboration happen between autonomous individuals, not between permission seekers and permission granters. When two autonomous people come together, they create something powerful. When a permission seeker interacts with anyone, they create a hierarchy and resentment. The Sigma male prefers partnerships over power games. Self-validation also means the Sigma male has clear internal standards. He knows what he stands for. He knows what he's willing to do and what he's not willing to do. He knows what success looks like to him, independent of social media, independent of his family's expectations, independent of cultural programming. This clarity is rare. Most men are operating on autopilot, pursuing goals they've never questioned, seeking approval from people whose opinion shouldn't matter. The Sigma male has done the hard work of defining his own metrics. And because he's clear on his own standards, he doesn't need anyone else to tell him if he's on the right track. This is true freedom. This is what it means to be autonomous. You're not reactive to other people's opinions. You're not bouncing around like a pinball, seeking validation wherever you can find it. You're solid, you're centered, you're moving in a direction you've chosen, and from this place of autonomy, everything changes. Your relationships improve because you're not needy. Your career advances because you take initiative. Your mental health stabilizes because you're not constantly seeking approval. Your entire life upgrades because you've reclaimed your power. 4. How Sigma men handle criticism and opposition. Here's where the Sigma mindset really gets tested. When you stop asking permission and start acting autonomously, you're going to face criticism. You're going to face opposition. You're going to encounter people who are deeply uncomfortable with your independence because it highlights their own lack of it. The Sigma male has a sophisticated relationship with criticism that most men never develop. He's not defensive. He's not reactive, but he's also not passive. He has a filter system that allows him to extract value from criticism while rejecting the poison. Let's break down this filter system because it's crucial. When criticism comes, the Sigma male asks himself 3 questions. First, does this person have expertise or experience in the area they're criticizing? If your out-of-shape friend is criticizing your workout routine, or your broke friend is criticizing your business decisions, the answer is no. Their opinion, while they're entitled to it, carries 0 weight. The Sigma male dismisses this type of criticism immediately, not with anger, but with indifference. He simply doesn't grant it authority in his mind. Second, does this person have my best interests at heart, or are they projecting their own fears and limitations onto me? This is subtle but critical. Sometimes people who care about you will try to hold you back, not because they're malicious, but because they're afraid. They're afraid you'll fail and get hurt. They're afraid you'll succeed and leave them behind. The Sigma male can distinguish between genuine concern and fear-based projection. He appreciates the concern, but doesn't let it stop him. Third, is there objective truth in this criticism that I can use to improve? This is where the Sigma male's ego takes a back seat. He's not so attached to being right that he can't see when someone has a valid point. If the criticism contains actionable information that could help him optimize his approach, he takes it, he integrates it, he improves. But he does this without feeling diminished because his self-worth isn't tied to being perfect. This filter system is what separates the Sigma male from both the insecure man who crumbles under criticism and the arrogant man who rejects all feedback. He's found the middle path, discernment. Now let's talk about opposition, because when you stop asking permission and start carving your own path, you're going to face people who actively try to stop you. They'll question your judgment. They'll predict your failure. They'll tell you all the reasons why you should stay in your lane, play it safe, follow the conventional path. The Sigma male understands something profound about opposition. It's information. It tells you you're doing something right. If everyone agrees with you, you're probably not doing anything interesting or challenging. Opposition means you're pushing boundaries. It means you're threatening the status quo. And the status quo always fights back to protect itself. Think about it. When you announce you're starting a business, the 9-to-5 lifers will tell you it's risky. When you say you're going to travel the world, the people who've never left their hometown will tell you it's irresponsible. When you commit to an unconventional path, the conventional people will line up to tell you why you're wrong. The Sigma male expects this. He's not surprised by it. He's not hurt by it. He understands that people's advice is usually just a reflection of what they would do in your situation, filtered through their fears, limitations, and experiences. And their situation isn't your situation. Here's a practical example. Let's say you decide to leave a stable corporate job to pursue a creative passion. The opposition will be immediate and intense. Your parents might freak out. Your colleagues might think you're crazy. Your friends might distance themselves because your decision makes them uncomfortable about their own safe choices. The Sigma male hears all of this, acknowledges it, and then asks himself, am I making this decision from a place of clarity and alignment with my values, or am I running away from something? If the answer is the former, he proceeds. He doesn't need their blessing. He doesn't need their understanding. He trusts his own judgment more than he fears their disapproval. And here's what almost always happens. 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, when he's thriving in his new path, those same people will act like they always believed in him. They'll say they knew he could do it. They'll rewrite history in their minds because they can't admit they were wrong. The Sigma male doesn't hold this against them. He understands human nature. He knows that most people are operating from fear and limitation, and that's not personal. It's just the reality of living in a world where most men have given away their power. So when criticism and opposition come, the Sigma male stays in his center. He doesn't argue. He doesn't defend. He doesn't try to convince anyone. He simply continues moving in the direction he's chosen, and his results become his response. 5. Strategic decision-making without external approval. Let's get tactical. How does a Sigma male actually make decisions without seeking external approval? Because not asking permission doesn't mean being impulsive or reckless. The Sigma male is highly strategic. His decision-making process has 5 clear steps. First, he gets clear on his objective. What's the actual outcome he's trying to achieve? Not what looks good or would impress people. What does he actually want? This clarity is non-negotiable. Most men skip this step and end up pursuing goals they don't even care about. Second, he gathers information, not permission. There's a massive difference. He'll research, study, and learn from people who've done what he's trying to do. But he's collecting data to inform his decision, not seeking approval for it. When you ask for information, you maintain your power. When you ask for permission, you give it away. Third, he assesses risk. What's the worst-case scenario? Can he handle it? What's his contingency plan? The Sigma male doesn't avoid risk. He calculates it. He's not avoiding asking permission because he's impulsive. He avoids it because he's done the analysis himself and trusts his own assessment more than someone else's fear-based response. Fourth, he checks alignment. Does this decision align with his values and long-term vision? If yes, he proceeds. If no, he doesn't. This internal compass is more reliable than any external advice because it's calibrated to his unique path. Fifth, he acts immediately. This is where most men sabotage themselves. They do all the analysis, know what they want to do, but then seek permission as a final step. The Sigma male trusts his process and executes without giving fear time to accumulate or other people time to talk him out of it. Here's a concrete example. A Sigma male wants to invest significantly in a business venture. He doesn't call friends asking what they think or post in forums seeking validation. Instead, he researches the market, analyzes the numbers, talks to people who've built similar businesses to learn how they did it, assesses whether he can withstand losses, and evaluates if it aligns with his vision. Then he makes the investment. If it succeeds, great. If it fails, he extracts lessons and moves forward. Either way, it's his decision. He owns it completely. There's a subtle but critical distinction between consultation and permission. The Sigma male might consult experts, a lawyer for legal implications, a doctor for medical decisions. But he's seeking expert information, not asking permission. He might say, "Here's what I'm planning. What should I be aware of?" Not, "Do you think I should do this?" One maintains agency, the other surrenders it. The Sigma male also understands that strategic decision-making requires speed. While others are paralyzed by analysis and permission-seeking, he's already 3 steps ahead, learning from real-world feedback. And here's the key. He becomes better at decision-making over time because he's making more decisions. Each one, regardless of outcome, makes him more calibrated and confident. Men who constantly seek permission never develop this capability. 6. Building unshakable self-trust and confidence. Everything we've discussed builds toward this, unshakable self-trust. This is what makes not asking permission natural rather than forced. When you deeply trust yourself, needing someone else's approval becomes foreign. So, how do you build this level of self-trust? Let me give you the core practices. First, honor your word to yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, "I'll work out tomorrow." But don't, "I'll start that project but never do." You erode self-trust. The Sigma male treats commitments to himself as sacred. He does what he said he would do when he said he would do it. Start small, set a promise you can keep and keep it. Then another. This is how you rebuild the foundation. Second, create a feedback loop. After making decisions, the Sigma male reflects. What worked? What didn't? What would I do differently? He's studying himself like a scientist, developing deep knowledge of his patterns and tendencies. This self-knowledge becomes the bedrock of confident decision-making. Third, close the gap between knowing and doing. Most men know what they should do, but don't act. This gap destroys self-trust. When the Sigma male knows something needs to be done, he does it. He doesn't wait for perfect conditions or motivation. Every time he closes this gap, his self-trust compounds. Fourth, embrace discomfort strategically. Confidence is built on the other side of discomfort. The Sigma male deliberately puts himself in uncomfortable situations, difficult conversations, calculated risks, things he might fail at. He knows growth happens at the edge of his comfort zone. Fifth, separate your worth from outcomes. The Sigma male can make a decision that doesn't work out without it affecting his self-worth. He understands he is not his results. He's the person who makes decisions and learns from outcomes. His worth is inherent. His results are simply feedback. Sixth, stop explaining yourself. When you trust your judgment, you don't feel compelled to justify decisions to people who didn't ask. You decide to change careers, someone questions it, and instead of spiraling into explanations, you simply say, "I've made the decision that's right for me." Your own trust in your decision is sufficient. Finally, cultivate a relationship with failure. The Sigma male sees failure as information, not evidence he was wrong. This didn't work. What can I learn? This relationship with failure allows him to trust himself even when things don't go as planned, because he knows he'll handle it and become stronger. Building self-trust is a lifelong practice. But every day you honor commitments to yourself, act without seeking permission, and take responsibility for outcomes. You're making deposits into this account. Eventually, you accumulate so much self-trust that external validation becomes irrelevant. 7. The freedom that comes from owning your choices. Let's talk about what life looks like when you stop asking permission and fully own your choices. This is where everything comes together. First, you experience genuine freedom. Not surface-level freedom, but the deep freedom of being fully responsible for your life. When you're responsible, you're powerful. When you're powerful, you're free. You're no longer a victim of other people's decisions. You're the author of your life. This creates what I call sovereign peace, a deep calm from knowing you're living your life, not someone else's idea of it. Second, your relationships deepen. This surprises people, but when you're autonomous, you attract other autonomous people. Your romantic relationships become partnerships between equals, not dependency arrangements. Your friendships strengthen because they're based on genuine connection, not approval seeking. And resentment dissolves. All that bitterness from being rejected or feeling controlled vanishes when you reclaim your autonomy. Third, you accelerate your growth exponentially. You're not waiting for permission, so you're taking action faster, accumulating experiences and lessons at a higher rate. The Sigma male tries things, fails fast, adjusts, and tries again. He's 10 steps ahead, while others are still seeking approval for step 1. Fourth, you develop quiet, unshakable confidence. Not loud, performative confidence, but the quiet confidence of someone with evidence. Evidence that you can make decisions, handle adversity, and create outcomes through your own agency. This becomes your default state. You walk into rooms differently, negotiate differently, pursue opportunities differently. Fifth, you experience creative liberation. When you're not filtering everything through "what will people think," your creativity explodes. You pursue unconventional ideas, take creative risks, experiment, and innovate. This is why innovators and entrepreneurs often have Sigma traits. They had to stop asking permission to create something new. Finally, you make peace with not needing everyone's understanding or approval. You genuinely don't need your family to understand your choices or society to validate your path. You wish them well, but you don't bend your life to accommodate their limitations. This is the ultimate freedom, being yourself completely, pursuing your vision relentlessly, making your own choices confidently, and accepting full responsibility for the life you create. The Sigma male has tasted this freedom and can never go back. Once you know what it feels like to live as a sovereign man, to trust yourself completely, the old way of asking permission feels like voluntarily returning to prison. And here's the truth. This freedom is available to any man willing to take responsibility. It's not reserved for a special few. It's a choice, a daily choice to trust yourself more than the crowd, to act on your own judgment, to own your life completely. This is what the Sigma male understands. This is what's available to you right now if you're ready to stop asking permission and start living. The question is, are you ready? So there you have it. 7 fundamental pillars that explain why Sigma men never ask permission for anything. This isn't about being reckless or disrespectful. This is about understanding a deeper truth. You are the ultimate authority in your life. while the masses will continue waiting in line, waiting for their turn, waiting for someone to tell them it's okay to pursue their dreams, you now understand a different path, the Sigma path, the path of self-trust, autonomy, and unwavering commitment to your own vision. Remember, every great man in history who changed the world did so by refusing to ask permission. They faced criticism, opposition, and doubt from every direction, but they moved forward anyway because they trusted themselves more than they trusted the crowd. The question is, will you continue asking, or will you start acting? If this resonated with you, if you're committed to mastering the Sigma mindset and breaking free from the permission-seeking mentality that keeps most men trapped, then subscribe to Official Sigma Mail right now. We're releasing content every week that will sharpen your mind, strengthen your frame, and help you build the life you actually want to live. Not the life society tells you to want, your life. The journey from permission seeker to autonomous force of nature starts with a single decision. Make that decision today. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's continue this transformation together. Stay Sigma, stay sovereign, and never ever ask permission to be great.